of Kittens and Broken Things. Chapter 72. Sennar brought gifts and company debate, and a little sorry girl named Kimin. He arrived with her in his arms. Kara opened the door, and Kimin said, "Hi! He's a bad guy, and he goes now." She was very excited. There was also a Varan named Kerplunk. We have corresponded, and I was dismayed to learn that Kimin lost her family during the attack on the Citadel. I thought perhaps she would enjoy meeting you. Of course. Come on in. Kimin loved the apartment. Kimin loved Kerplunk. Kimin loved fruit. Kimin whispered loudly that his name was really Bennis, but that was a secret. Kara told her. He does have a lot of names. Kerplunk loved Russ. Love at first tackle for both of them, really. Kara sat on the couch after dinner, Kimin's head on her lap as the little girl chattered, gesticulated, told every secret she knew in a whisper that could be heard upstairs, and fell asleep with her arms wrapped around Kara's thigh. Garrus leaned over to look.
She's not letting go, is she?
No. Shall I take her home? No. Let her sleep. Where's home? She has been staying in one of the communal spaces for those displaced after the invasion. Well, we've got communal space here. She looked at Garrus, who nodded. Russ said, Kerplunk and I are going to go scare some people and possibly get arrested. It's going to be great. That was nice. She needed to go for a walk. Well, really, more of a gallop. We need trees. And soon. Sennar left for the evening. Garrus set up one of the bedrooms for a little girl to the best of his ability, and Russ carried her up to bed with a hyper-vigilant Varan at his heels who started to whine when Russ tried to leave the room. So Russ stayed with them both, letting Kerplunk up on the bed, which was a historical precedent that was never going to change. Kimin never went home because she was already there. Relays did slowly open up, but they were still waiting for the relay to Palaven to reunite with family. Sennar asked them to consider a trip out to an obscure location in an unknown system with a newly opened relay. There, they would find the trees they needed, but he said nothing more except that they could pack light. They would find what they needed there. They didn't travel in a Reaper, which would have really freaked her out, but in a ship of sleek design that had Drell flare and amenities. The trip fast, only about 6 hours. When they landed, there was a glorious expanse of landscaping and a beautiful farmhouse with surrounding garden and, yes, trees. Trees she'd never seen before. The architecture looked familiar, and as Kimin ran past with Kerplunk racing ahead, she asked Sennar, "Is it safe for them here?" Yes. No local wildlife. The climate and composition is comparable to Mindor in many ways. Foliage is transplanted and engineered. Why does it look familiar? It's beautiful. It is a replica of the Émeraude de Lorraine of Versailles, architecturally. Inside is more functionally modern, but the style is maintained.
It's a replica of what?
It's called the Queen's Hamlet, a place on Earth, France. She was stunned into silence as Sennar smiled at her, and she wondered again how he knew. Kimin came running back, grabbed Garrus's hand, and they were off toward a grove of trees that were red and white. She squinted. What kind of trees are those? Sennar offered her his arm. She took it, and they walked at a more sedate pace until they got closer, and the trees got more foreign as they approached. It seemed to have red and white fruit, red leaves, white bark. She couldn't really believe what she was seeing, but the general air of surreal dream state carried through, reaching out and picking one which seemed to be a cupcake. I believe the name is Red Velvet. The cupcake had a stem and a thin, transparent film that peeled off. An entire cake provided too much of a burden on the stems and branches, and the trees would have been too large, so a small adjustment was required. It's really edible? Yes. I don't have words. You do not need to have words. Have a cupcake. He picked one and walked over to where Garrus had Kimin on his shoulders with her admiring the tree. He offered it to her. It disappeared, and then she picked 4 more. They were so good. She was growing accustomed to miracles. She took a deep breath and walked over to them, Kimin's mouth cream cheese smeared and beaming.
There's what now?
We can begin planning on what it is you would like to do here if you choose to stay part-time or full-time. This planet is in an undeveloped region. You are the only residents. Security and transport can be easily managed. You can do what you wish with the space. Kara might enjoy a research facility. Any expansion is viable. You might enjoy access to Reaper advancements in weaponry. I do not believe that there will be widespread war, but there will always be the potential for localized conflict. To that end, you might have a political think tank or coordination of rescue aid efforts. You can develop any combination of how you choose to split your time and interests. The planet is unclaimed as it lacked any infrastructure availability previously. I can provide infrastructure and security. Consider how or if you would like to expand.
What kind of advancements are we talking about?
I have prototypes if you would care to review them. There is no dedicated facility for further development yet, but there are workspaces available for you, Kara, and Helmoris to plan how you might care to occupy yourselves, and you can draw plans of what it is you wish to construct. So that's how they got a planet. A French farmhouse, cupcake trees, and anything else they wanted because this god was cool like that. The house wasn't really Varan-proof, and a lot of French replica furniture and large decorative pieces were dragged into the side yard by Kerplunk and only partly buried. They left it because Kara said it was a reminder about planning versus results, and because Russ thought it was funny. And the more delicate pieces that were not Turian friendly ended up lopsidedly reminded of the fate of monarchy and interior decorators. Kara dubbed it officially a sculpture garden. Also, about 50 red velvet cupcakes were Kerplunk's limit of consumption. If anybody was curious, which apparently Russ, Kimin, and Kerplunk were, but they were not any longer, and all 3 had to be hosed off in the sculpture garden before they were let back inside. The kitchen area was huge, composed of full Levo and full Dextro kitchens side by side, with an impressive farmhouse slab table in the middle of the space. Kerplunk ate anything and everything without having an allergic reaction. Russ fed Kerplunk under the table, and that was another historical precedent that was not going to change. When the relays did open up, they had visitors, lots and lots of visitors, leading to new residents, lots and lots of residents. Kara had become fascinated by the potential of genetics using Reaper technology, of which red velvet cupcake trees had been proof of concept. Sennar would not tell her exactly how he did it, but would feed her small pieces of technology and code with missing pieces she would need to puzzle out in order to comprehend and apply to further development. Yes, she could have cheated and used the direct link on her OmniTool to all the Reaper technology available, but she enjoyed the puzzle more than she would have enjoyed having it fed directly to her. The farmhouse hosted many discussions regarding the disposition of the available technology from curing disease to curing death. Garrus and Kara deferred the immortality thing, but Russ said he was taking the deal as soon as possible because Kerplunk was a menace. She wasn't really. Okay, she was, but not a dangerous menace. Okay, she was definitely a dangerous menace, but they loved her, and she loved them, and she never bit anyone. It was mostly high-impact love, and Russ could take it better than Kara could. Fortunately, Kerplunk was also very smart, and did not play rough with little Asari girls or little human women in ways that she could, with permission to launch a full-body tackle at an 8-foot-tall Turian biotic at any time. Lots of furniture broke, so that's how they got simple and then more complicated manufacturing and replication units. Russ and Garrus spent a lot of time with guns. Very exciting guns. They were not referred to as toys, but they were clearly toys. They had names with lots of impressive numbers and classifications that made them sound exciting and dangerous, and definitely not toys. Kimin wanted to be like Kara more than anything in the world, so they spent a lot of time being studious together. Rather than go to Palaven when the relay opened up, a lot of Cybertine Vicarians came to them for a visit. That's how they got a Vicarian Madless, and a lot more people who liked exciting and complicated and thoughtfully named guns, and definitely did not call them toys. Somewhere in the middle of this, there appeared herds of favorite things to eat for Turians. Shallow bodies of water where no sinking was possible, but fish were, and to Garrus's absolute delight, a pack of flying white verse that he was assured were not venomous, were not poisonous, but were absolutely beautiful. And did he mention flying verse?
Flying verse, Kara.
He was happy about that. He had to figure out how to catch and domesticate one, but Sonar wasn't allowed to tell him how. He'd figure it out. Villarine decided she would enjoy a medical research facility for Turian concerns, and Sonar provided that technology, working with her on a preliminary list of the most pressing Turian issues and research into how to best provide service. Yased had extended his interest in medical training in Cybertine and assisted Villarine, extending Turian interests to Drow interests, and the planet became a destination for those seeking therapy for complications of Keperal syndrome. Tensir lost a counselor as a son, but was certainly consoled by having a son that had his own planet and a god at his service. He was less interested in the guns part, but did integrate work with Villarine's. He and Solana established a Turian embassy on the planet, as well as a clearinghouse for pooling resources to address Turian needs and provide aid. About 9 months after arrival on the planet that had been named Sanctuary, one night after Kimin had gone to bed, Sonar, Kara, Garrus, and Russ sat around the table with golden moonlight streaming in, pools of simulated candlelight, a fire, the remains of a sample of the new crop of caramel cupcakes on Kara's plate, and a locally brewed Turian ale for Garrus and Russ. Sonar said, I have worked on developing and extending what is possible from Reaper capability. It has been possible for me to network to Reaper systems, but I have been unique in that capability. Reapers have had the capability to encapsulate existing consciousness, and I have further developed that to a method of duplicating existing consciousness for encapsulation and transfer to a new platform. Just as I have been capable of being in several places at once, now it becomes possible for others to do the same. Hamoris has undergone successful integration of functional immortality, which does not mean that he cannot die. His consciousness, however, will be capable of recording and imprint. He can be recreated from backup samples of DNA and those recordings. He has had physical upgrades, but of course any physical platform can experience catastrophic failure, especially with Kerplunk around. Sonar smiled in agreement. I know that Kara and Garrus have not chosen immortality, but there is another possibility I wish for you all to consider. Kara and Garrus It is possible for you both to duplicate yourselves using the method I have refined and made possible. This would make it possible for Kara and I to spend time with each other. It would make it possible for Garrus and Homoris to spend time with each other. There was a moment where Kara watched, blindsided and spinning, and as she looked to Garrus, he was looking at Russ. Blue flare surrounded Russ, and the ale bottle in his hand exploded to showers and shards. She did the only reasonable thing that occurred to her to do. She ran away. It wasn't Garrus that came to find her, and she knew it wouldn't be. It was Sinar. She was leaning against the trunk of a tree. She was too panicked to identify. It was dark. He had walked to her unerringly. She recalled the conversation Garrus and she had had after Sinar had first appeared in his glowing, godly glory. He says there's a lot he can't tell me. Yet, anyway.
No doubt we'll find out when he's ready, not when we are.
And here it was. That one big thing where he was ready, and she was not. She was panting from exertion, tipped her head back to the bark and said, "Why would you do that?" Sinar stepped closer and said, "Recall your kiss, Lassan." "You made me do that." His smile was gentle with that cast of godly knowing to his expression and certainty. "I bid you hold still. With that, you had no choice. Kissing me was a choice." "No, you told me." "I asked you to kiss me because it was the end of my life and because you wished to. Those conditions fulfilled, you were free to kiss me." "No, you informed me that I wished to. You made me." "I will concede that in our time together I have made you want to kiss me, but I did not compel you to do so then." "No, it—" "Lassan, I cannot argue this with you if you have no faith in my answer, and I will not demonstrate the difference between desire and compulsion. Not now. You wished to kiss me before that moment, and in that moment. You belong to Garrus, and until you belong to me, you must rely upon your memory of that kiss as one of the myriad reasons I would never give you up. Remember all the times your breath caught and your heart sped, the times you slept in my arms, the time you held me to you and did not let me go willingly." "I wasn't convincing in that case." "There was nothing you could do to convince me to allow you to sacrifice yourself. I had already been convinced to love you." "What about Yased? Erica?" "Asking you to make a duplicate of yourself would be utilizing technology I have developed and embraced myself. Myself. I will remain a father to Yased. He is considering helping me reconstruct Rakana, make her a habitable home again for our people. I can share, pool my experiences. I am several places at once. So can you if you choose that. That might occur for you in the future, but for now consider separate selves. That must be a choice you make without my capacity for undue influence, for many reasons, some of which I cannot explain to the woman who makes that choice, but only to the woman who allows me to be hers by that choice. You must have faith that I may press you to consider your truth and mine, truths that could be ours, but I will not force your hand. I will not allow coercion to set the course of our potential path together. You must be certain you are free to choose. I know it is not only your choice, that you must know those you love are cared for first before you choose me. As for Erica, I have done what is now possible to fulfill that vow, to take that path with her, for her. I do not know if I qualified for reaching the shores after the crucible. My consciousness remained, my body only was gone. To keep the vow to Erica that I made with her as her wristband, I recreated my body. I created a self dedicated to the path Erica walked. He died in hope of meeting her across the sea, to carry to her news of our son, and that he would not arrive. He would choose instead to live forever. I cannot share experiences with that self. He is gone. But if it was at all possible to reach Erica at the shores, he is with her. I will not die again. This responsibility will not end. I can share it with you. All the possibilities, all the information, all the choices. I wish for you to be there with me. I know you want that. I know you want me. What remains is the courage to admit to your bondmate that truth. She closed her eyes. You asked us all together. Why didn't... Because I know you, Lessam. Asked alone, you might have potentially refused, believing the offer was solely for you or solely for me. If I had not offered it to Garrus and Hemoris, you would not have seen their faces. You know they want this. You know they will not take it if you will not. No pressure. There is nothing to be lost. It requires only letting go of how life flowed before to embrace how it could flow now. There are paths to be gained, loves to be expressed. To embrace them, you must do what you never do, Lissam. You must be selfish. You are in love with Garrus, and you can have forever with him, but part of you, the part promised, she desires expression. She can have it. I doubt it would be difficult for you to allow Garrus or Hemoris to express what they feel for each other as you feel the potential in them keenly. It would be a relief for you to know Hemoris was loved, as is now possible. Garrus would never give you up, and you would never give him up. I do not ask that of you. You would never share yourself and give, in essence, half of yourself to each of us. I do not ask that of you. You demand to be whole. I can accommodate that. You can cling to once and idealistic forever, or allow twice and literal forever. You must find it in yourself to honor the truth you saw, the truth you feel, the truth you know, in a newly possible way. Or you must close those paths for all. And that's it? I say no, and you're gone? Do you want me and my newly possible choices gone? As always now, she noted the tone in his voice, and it seemed he asked questions he knew the answers to, because his voice no longer held any pressure of curiosity, but the rhythm of carrying forward conversation. It was the Socratic method translated into infuriating drill. Certainty. Still. She knew the answer as well as he seemed to know it. No. Never. Then I am here for you. Always. In whatever capacity you allow. Just as Homoris would be there each day for Garrus were he to refuse this possibility. Lasam, I can grant you new choices. You can tell me what you want. I thought I had to beg. All I require, Lasam, is the word yes. From your lips. I will not coerce, nor will it cost you any dignity you wish to preserve. Perhaps coercion would be easier, giving you the excuse that you had no choice. You have all the choices, Kara. And if I'm a massive disappointment? What if I embarrass you in front of all your god friends? My godhood can belong to you. I can give you that destiny if you choose, with or without me. Eternity sounds kind of boring. Alone? I have my memories of you and the rehabilitation of the galaxy to occupy me, but I wish to make more memories with you. Well, you're just getting started on eternity. Novelty hasn't worn off yet. She realized she was babbling, stalling, unable to comprehend. I need you, Kara. I offer love. I offer eternal life and purpose. I offer devotion. I offer you all the knowledge of the cycles. I offer you the chance to make real change and set the course of the future with me. I offer denial of lust if required, but never denial of love. I offer you no interference in your life with your bondmate, and a natural death if you choose. I will not force eternity upon you if you do not wish it. If any of those temptations, or all of those temptations, will sway you, please consent to being swayed. She'd been so far past swayed so often it seemed redundant to admit it. He knew, she said. And if I really, really want to kiss you now, just like I did then that is encouraging, but not yet the word I wish to hear. The woman I will kiss does not yet exist, and you must choose for her. She thought of Garrus, and then immediately about the way he and Russ had looked at each other. They want to, don't they? Beyond a doubt. They deserve time together. As do we. I should talk to Garrus. You can, and you will, but you know that you set his answer, and you know what answer he wishes. So, once again, you can't directly seduce me. You have to bribe my bondmate's best friend? Homoris is my friend and family. I would wish to aid him regardless of your involvement. I do not require that you beg, as I would be waiting in stubborn eternity for that, as Garrus informed me, and he was correct. You distressingly require all galactic and personal problems to be solved before you will allow yourself to be with me. Death used to be a prerequisite, but as I will no longer die, I must improvise. I can only do so much. I may be last in line in terms of your priorities, but I can move that line if that is all that stands in my way. You're not, have never been last in line. Then to be more clear, you have placed your desire for me last in your line of priorities that may be considered. Things that make others happy you will do for them without question. Things that might make you happy, you would defer that forever, as long as someone else required some sacrifice from you. I will not ask you to sacrifice anything for me. Not your bondmate, not your life with him, not the love you have for him. He will be with you. Nothing need stand in my, her, your, their, our way. So you're appealing to my martyrdom and sacrificial impulses here? In part. But you also consider me somewhat of a delinquent child, and you feel you must look after me. For these and other reasons, I appeal to you. Is there any other way to gain your cooperation, Lassam? If so, tell me what it is, and I will attempt that as well. She considered that Garrus had not followed her, that she had seen their faces, that they wanted, and she wanted, and it was possible, and that it was up to her. She had felt the fact that Russ loved Garrus every day since she'd found out, a path they would have taken had she not been in their way. If she knew Sennar had the woman he loved, the woman he'd earned, the Manapar promised that they could create new possibilities where before there had been death, denial, and condemnation. She felt like begging, but didn't, eyes taking in the glow that lit him in the dark that was now destined, literal, and marking him as hers. How he wished to see himself. She ran to him, closed her eyes tightly, and wrapped her arms around his waist. His arms closed around her. Will you tell her how you know the things you know about me? I will tell her the truth of anything she wishes to know. But you won't tell me. Not now, Lassam. Perhaps someday. Perhaps you choose mutually to share who you are with each other, and you will learn that way. It is not a thing of menace. Are you afraid of making me jealous of my other me? Of course, Lassam. I am a god, regardless of whether or not you truly credit that reality. You may perhaps believe you must send her to me in order to be certain I do not ruin the galaxy without her oversight, or ruin your domestic life in order to get your attention. Whatever your motives, Lassam, simply say yes, and I will accept your reasons. I do not believe she will be disappointed in what I can offer her to console her for her noble sacrifice. So being with you is really that good of a deal? I believe so, yes. Ignorance is bliss? You already have bliss with your bondmate, Lassam. Do not be greedy. The woman I will belong to must know that I cared for her before she existed, that I preserved for her what will belong to her only, and not to you. Yes, I have made you curious, and on purpose. If she allows it, I will tell you, or she can tell you herself. You must trust to yourself to assuage your own curiosity or not. That will be for her to decide, one step at a time. You choose, and she steps upon a new path with me. Then, yes. He kissed the top of her head, his hands to the back of her head. Thank you. The song. How do we do everything? Leave that to me. Can I stay here for just a minute? Please. They stood, mutual tension dissolving in their shoulders, relaxing, breath easing. They stood grounded, rooted like trees grown together and inseparable. She moved first, but not soon, and they walked back in solemn silence, no longer touching. When they got to the kitchen, Russ demanded, Kara, I want a pity clone. I deserve a pity clone.
Don't call it that.
Don't call him it. Wait, I don't care what you call him. I want one. Kara looked at Garrus and said, This was an ambush. He wanted me to see your faces. I'm glad I did. Russ, Okay. Everyone who wants to do this, say I. Lips moved around A sounds, Russ drowning them out by saying, I 3 times. I mean it. I should be the only one that gets a vote. He's a damned god. Why does he need a pity clone?
I saw his face too. Now I see your face. You okay?
Yeah. Weird. But okay.
We're gonna miss these guys?
But they'll be happy. Senna, I haven't said this, but I love you, and I won't take that back. What I wish is for all in this room to find happiness. Russ scooted his chair closer to Garrus's, who was waving him away as Russ said, As gods go, Senna, you do not suck. I'm gonna run away again, right about now.